You're watching CS 105.1, where I talk about sports and movies with good vibes. The Nuggets tonight take a loss against the Timberwolves, but I still got some good vibes. Let's get it. I couldn't do this podcast without my amazing equipment, so I'd like to give a shout out to Røde for the Røde Pod Mic USB, as well as Insta360 for the webcam link that I'm using, as well as Nanlite for all of the studio lighting that I have here. How's it going, everyone, and welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. So the Nuggets fell tonight against the Timberwolves in a loss which I would say isn't as horrible as the previous losses that we've had. It still sucks to get a loss, and especially against the Timberwolves. But tonight, I saw something that we didn't quite see in the past losses so far this season. They end up losing 116 to 119, just by 3 points in the fourth quarter there. So this time, no overtime. And this is actually probably one game that I probably would have been okay if they had gone into overtime. But my first takes here are that the Nuggets are getting better. That's one thing. And I noticed that several other people have noticed this as well. So Timberwolves might be feeling high. You know, you got a win on the Nuggets again. We won in preseason, but I know y'all don't count that, even though I feel like it's still, you can count it. There's still very important things that you can take from preseason. So, but this one does definitely have more weight on it. Regardless of all of that, the Nuggets are getting better. The first couple of games when they lost to the Thunder and to the Clippers, there was times where you just felt like they didn't care. And they weren't really, they were just like tired and just like ready for the season to already be over. But tonight we saw a different Nuggets. They did get down by double digits once again, which was one of my frustrations that I'll get into. But there was a lot of fire in tonight, and maybe it was just because they were facing the Timberwolves, which is like a trigger for the Nuggets fans now, and for the Nuggets players and everything, and they wanted to show up because we still have unfinished business, I feel like, with them, and so there could be a level of that, but regardless, like, we got a lot of good minutes from a lot of players tonight, and it felt as a team they wanted to win this one. I know in my previous episode I was saying that if we had to lose one of these games in this back-to-back with the Timberwolves and then the Jazz, I'd rather us lose this game and then win against the Jazz. But as I was watching this game, I started to feel like maybe I really wanted them to win against the Timberwolves, just because freaking Gobert and Ant just drive me insane, and I just want them to be shut up. But knowing that they tried hard to win, like, it sits a little bit better than if they had just given up. Like, what was it? It was the Game 6 of last season's of the semi-playoffs against the Timberwolves. Game 6 when the Timberwolves got like a 50-point lead on the Nuggets, and then they ended up winning by 45. That was just an awful, crushing loss. Tonight, they only won by one possession. And so there was definitely, it was a completely different game. It was even a completely different game than the Game 7 when the Nuggets had a 20-point lead, lost it, and then lost by 8. Like, this game, actually, you could tell they wanted to win this one. They weren't giving exhaustion an excuse. They were fighting as hard as they could to win that one. And so I just really appreciate when the team actually tries hard to win rather than just gives up early on. And this definitely had a lot of playoff feels in it. Like, you could almost swear that it was a playoff. It was on ESPN, which, again, I hate when these games are on ESPN so freaking much. And I was looking at the schedule of the Nuggets, and the majority of the national televised games are on ESPN. so stupid. Like, have ABC have more games, have even TNT have more games. I don't care, but not ESPN. It's so difficult to get an ESPN and watch a game. Or if ESPN wants to make it more accessible to people and, have either like an actual streaming without the need to have a provider, or to have a free trial or like free game here and there for people to watch, it would be a lot more appreciated than what they're doing right now, because it's just a freaking money grab. And which I know that a lot of companies are greedy like that, but just to like have some kind of good show of good faith for your customers would be really nice. But so it was on ESPN, and it just really felt like the aggressiveness was on both sides. The intensity was up. Like the crowd there, you could tell like it was a packed house. Like it felt like a playoff game. And so I'm excited to see the next matchup between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, and hopefully we take the next game. But now they have to get back to Denver and rest up as much as they can before they play the Jazz, who are still winless, and they're hungry, and we can't let them get their first win, especially on our court and home. We have to get our first home win still. So, but some other takes that I had was that there was a lot of lazy, boneheaded plays in this game that shouldn't have been done. But in the end, like I said, I do feel better about this loss than if they had blown another 20-point lead against the Timberwolves. So let's get into the first quarter, right? First quarter, again, Nuggets aren't guarding the threes. They're not contesting the threes, which is a pain point. And that's actually something that was more consistent throughout the entire game. So if I just jump ahead real quick to stats, the Timberwolves had attempted 42 threes, and they made 18. They were 42% with 3-point making. Meanwhile, the Nuggets were 34 percentage of 11 and 32 on 3 points. And so that's still an issue. It was an issue last season. It's still an issue now. We had a little bit of a better break, I think, within like the last 2 games that we won with threes and contesting threes and everything. But then they kind of slacked off on this one. And so that just to see them get out and contest more without fouling, of course. I noticed also, though, that the teams were very neck and neck. Like throughout a lot of the first and maybe into the second, almost like middle of the second, the teams were very much even. Like the Nuggets ended up losing first quarter, 33-29, but still, I mean, that's only a down by 4 in the first quarter. That's not a horrible position to be in. But unfortunately, Murray didn't really show up, and so his consistency is not great right now. He has some good games and he has some really bad games. Meanwhile, you have a lot of the other teams where you have more consistent players playing consistent minutes, making consistent buckets and everything. And so it's a little concerning that he's still kind of dealing with stuff. But he didn't really give much at all. And then he ended up actually getting taken out of the game, which happened more in the third, around the third quarter. So I'll get into that later on. But he just wasn't really showing up. He had 6 points. So he had like bench amount of points. Like he was 1 point better than the strongest bench player tonight for the Nuggets. I mean, that just you need your starting point guard, your should be all-star point guard to be playing better than that. But then we go into the second quarter, and they finally bring in the reserves, the second unit, to rest the starters. One of them being Sarge again, who has not had a good game so far in the regular season. He has been rather atrocious, and I'm rooting for him to be better. I know he can be better, but he only played 5 minutes tonight. And I know the previous games he only played roughly around 4 or 5 minutes. Like, he just looks lost. He's very clumsy, and it looks like he is just recently taken up basketball. He doesn't look like he's played basketball for very long. And it's kind of unfortunate that he's the backup center that they chose to go with during the off season, and they didn't really spend more time to look at a better big man for the 5 spot, the backup 5. But I am rooting for him to do better. Last thing I want is that the Nuggets have to do a trade come the deadline and everything. We're still months away from that, and I do want them to be good, all of the players, and so I'm not going to hate on any of them, but I will critique them. And right now, the biggest critique is Sarge, and I would even critique Malone on this. Is that right now, I would actually put Zeke Naji in, because I feel like Zeke would have better minutes than Dario Sarge. Like, Zeke hasn't played. I don't know if Zeke's played at all this season. To think about it now, I think he only played the preseason, and so it would actually be. I would rather have Zeke out there than Sarge. But then this is where we got down by 16 in the in the second quarter, and they had to bring back the starters to save us. MPJ and AG got back in, and they went on a 3 shooting streak. They shot 3 straight to back to back threes, and then I noticed though during that, so they brought the all-star or the starters back, and Murray's out there, but I totally caught Murray ball watching. Like, he was just ball watching. Like he was not prepared for this game at all, and you could definitely see it was very noticeable. And so then the Nuggets lucked out on a missed call when they fouled Randall, and the entire Target Center was all up in arms, booing and everything. And I will admit that they definitely fouled him, but there was several other plays in the first quarter and earlier in the second quarter that were missed calls on the Nuggets that were very egregious as well. So it's just kind of like that biasness, like you can't be happy that you lucked out on a foul and then turn around and be upset that you got also fouled. Like it is what it is. Like, it's the game. Like, just chill out. Like, if it had been uneven the entire game, I can understand that more, but Wolves fans need to chill out. And then the Nuggets ended up actually winning second quarter, 32-31. They go into the half 61-64, so they're still down, but it's again still a three. Now it's actually a 3-point game. AG was the leading scorer. He was actually the leading scorer overall. Actually, even at the end of the game, he was overall leading scorer. But he goes into the half with 19 points, more than anyone else, even Ant. Like, AG was amazing tonight. And that's why he proved that he was Mr. Nugget for sure. And then third quarter starts, and AG just shows once again he's on fire, and he's like a unstoppable force. He played really, really well. He got a double-double. And but then Jamal, he got sandwiched. I forget who the other player was, but he got sandwiched between Julius Randle and another player, and Julius Randle hits him hard in the face and knocks him down. And so, it takes him a while to get up, and then he finally ends up actually going out and into the back. And we don't know until later on that they actually keep him back there, and he's done for the rest of the game because of a concussion protocol. So they're watching to make sure that he doesn't have one, or if he does, to hold off. So my guess now is that he's not going to be playing against the Jazz, which, I mean, we do need his defense. He is fairly good on defense. He gets some really needed steals and blocks, and he can put pressure up against the offense. But if he's offense-wise, if he's going to be the same that he was today, then it's probably for the best that he kind of gets the rest that he needs, and then we maybe start Julian Strawther or even Russell Westbrook, which we had already kind of anticipated Russell Westbrook eventually in the starting lineup, and so I feel like tomorrow that might be it. It'll be either him or Strawther for sure. And so then once again, no one is contesting threes. That continues into the third. And then Strawther, with an offensive foul when we can't afford it, leads the Wolves into a 3-point transition. Like their transition from that foul then leads them into a 3-point shot. And it was just frustrating. Like, a lot of the bench, once again, just doesn't know what they're doing. It shows like they're lost and they're not communicating well. Westbrook at first started off kind of clunky, and then he had to warm up. And he did make some really good plays for us. But the entire bench just wasn't the same that they were in the game with the Nets. Like, I was really hoping that Westbrook could have a more consistent game now, but I guess he's still finding it out, or figuring it out and everything. And you would think that after some rest time, that because they've had like a couple days now since their previous game, so that you would think by now they would have actually a better game than when they played the Nets. But it's kind of weird how some people have worse games. It's almost like they need that to play consistently to stay up and not rest at all. And actually, it was in the third quarter that Westbrook, he made a great block and then immediately got a steal. So two major plays by Westbrook, and he drew an offensive foul. That's what it was. He drew an offensive foul on Randle, and then immediately got a steal. And so he had some good minutes, good defensive minutes in the second half. And then Malone finally used a challenge again, but he again was unsuccessful. He uses it on a challenge against a call on Hunter Tyson, who was called for an illegal block. And you could tell in the replay that Hunter Tyson moves during the block. And so you already knew that it was a good call and it wasn't going to be overturned. And then there was some other calls where he definitely should have used the challenge on, but then he never did. And then after that, you can't use another challenge because you use it up on this one bad call, or this good call. And so then the T-Wolves actually win the third quarter, 27-24. So then it starts to go more in their favor into the fourth. And in the fourth quarter, the Nuggets actually win the fourth quarter. They won the fourth quarter 31-28. And there was a lot of biased calls against the Nuggets in the fourth quarter that led to turnovers. There was one that actually was in favor of the Nuggets because they called a foul, an offensive foul on Rudy Gobert. It was a flagrant. It was upgraded to a flagrant one because he totally wind up and hit Jokic in the face with his elbow, his right elbow. And so it was a flagrant one. Jokic got to shoot 2 baskets, and then a little later after that, CB dunks on Gobert, and Gobert didn't really like it, and so he actually he got CB into a chokehold, and they were both given technical fouls. So at that point, you already had a flagrant foul on Gobert, and now you have a technical foul on Gobert. Why wasn't he brought out of the game? He should have been brought out of the game. I mean, this is one of the major reasons why I cannot stand Rudy Gobert. He is such a dirty player, and he gets away with a lot of stuff. But Rudy Gobert did have some good moments for his team tonight, but just those two was so dirty. I mean, they just kind of overshadowed everything else that he did. And plus, having already been on the receiving end of a chokehold by Draymond Green, like it just. Why would you then put someone else in a chokehold? Like, it's just so classless. Like the entire, a lot of the Timberwolves and Rudy Gobert specifically are very classless. I mean, the fire is fine, but it's just the attitude, the approach that I don't agree with. I mean, even Nas was very much a crybaby throughout the entire game, and there would be times that he would be fouling, and then he would throw a tantrum of why he was called for the foul when it was clearly a foul. Like he fouls Julian Strother at the 3-point line because he jumped into his space, and then he's like confused why he had stop acting like you don't know. Like you fouled. Finally, the Nuggets got in. They got a little run streak, and they finally got pulled ahead and got into double-digit lead. It was the first double-digit lead of the season so far. It was nice to see that. But then they played with their food, and then Timberwolves came back, and so there was multiple turnovers, and some even big turnovers from Jokic. Unfortunately, but it's that one thing of just wanting to see them be consistent. Once they have an advantage, to capitalize on that advantage. So ending score 119-116 Timberwolves. The stats are, though, Michael Porter Jr. had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. There was actually one steal where he actually got the ball stolen from him, and then he turns around and steals the ball right back. Very odd. He was 11 from 18 from field goal range, so 61%. He was 3 from 7 from 3 points, so 42%. He was 1 of 2 in free throws, 3 turnovers, and 2 personal fouls. So he actually had a decent night. I hope he stays consistent because I would love to see him have a breakout season. I really dig Michael Porter Jr. a lot, and we definitely need him in the lineup and to be playing good and being confident. And then our main man, Mr. Nugget, Aaron Gordon, he had 31 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 11 for 18 field goals as well. He was 5 from 7 from 3 points, so he had 71%. 4 from 5 from free throws, and then no turnovers and 2 personal fouls. Like he definitely had himself a night, and I'm so I love seeing Aaron Gordon have a good night, especially from whatever all the stuff that he's been through this year. Like he really deserves that, and so I hope that he stays fired up. And I would absolutely love to see Aaron Gordon be an all-star. Like if that's Jokic's second team member to be in the all-stars with him, that would be amazing. Or actually it'd be like his first ever having another team member in the all-stars. But either way, yeah. So then we get to Jokic, and he had a double-double. He was very close to a triple-double again. And it was I think it was like the 3rd or 4th time this season already that he's had a double-double. He had 26 points, 9 rebounds, 13 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. He was 8 from 16 from field goals, 2 for 3 from three-pointers, 8 for 10 in free throws. He actually missed a couple of major free throws that could have easily have put the Nuggets in, if anything, tied up and into overtime again. And then he had 3 turnovers and 1 personal foul. And so, yeah, some of those turnovers that he had were like major. It shouldn't have happened, but knowing Yoke, he's going to fix that. He's going to correct that. So we won't see that again. But then we had Christian Braun, who had an amazing night. In Christian Braun's standpoint, because he's still trying to make a name for himself. I mean, he's just now becoming a starter full time, and so he's still trying to make a name for himself. He had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 11 in field goals, 1 for 3 in 3-pointers, 3 for 3 in free throws, which was awesome. He had 2 turnovers and 4 personal fouls, but man, he had 2 amazing dunks, one of them being on Gobert. And if you know me, there's nothing I love more than seeing Gobert getting dunked on, and especially by CB. Like, the second time now CB has dunked on Gobert, just as fiery as the first time. Like, you can tell there's a lot of Nuggets who just really hate Gobert. Jokic, CB, like several other players, because, man, he makes it very easy to hate him. Him and Ant. I don't like Ant. He's very classless, especially what he did in the post season last year, taunting the Denver crowd, like very unsportsmanlike conduct. Surprised they never teed him up for a lot of that shit that he was doing, but we're over that. We're into the new season now. Murray, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 for 7 in field goals, 0 for 3 and 3-pointers, 2 for 2 in free throws, no turnovers, no personal fouls, because he also went out fairly early. He only had 22. He only played 22 minutes, so. Strother had 4 points. Actually, Strother had the most personal fouls, and that's actually one thing that I noticed too, is he's constantly getting himself into foul trouble right now, and it's not at all what he was like in the preseason and the summer league. Like, he needs to go back to whatever made him really good at shooting in those 2 warm-up seasons, but he needs to bring it into the regular season now. I mean, there was games where he was making 31 points in a game, and now he's struggling to even get into double digits. He has 4 points tonight. Westbrook had 5 points. Watson had 2. Watson looked like he was lost a lot of the times, which I hate seeing Watson have a bad game, because I really dig P. Watt. I think that if he really focuses, he can be one of the main contending defensive player of the year players if he just really focused. But I think one of the issues with him is that he has too many people in his head telling him what he should be doing, and so that he's not focused on what he really wants to be doing, and it kind of shows. Like, you don't know if he really wants to be a shot maker or a defensive player. I know everyone wants to be the full-on package, but I feel like it would be much better for him to just, pick one or the other. Either focus really hard on your offense, or focus really hard on your defense. Make one of those spectacular first, and then you can kind of fine-tune the other stuff. But he still looks lost. Then we already went over Sarge. 0 points. He had 2 rebounds, so I guess he did contribute a little bit in the 4 minutes that he was there. Hunter Tyson had 2 points, and then they didn't play any of the others. And even if you were to play DeAndre Jordan, DJ's really good. I mean, he used to be an all-star himself, so play him over Sarge. Zeke Naji over Sarge. Anyone else over Sarge would be better at this point. Sarge needs to be sidelined more often. Maybe only bring him in towards the end when we have a good lead, which is unfortunate because you got him originally to be a good backup. But overall, the Nuggets rebound the Timberwolves. They had 46 rebounds to the Timberwolves 38. The Timberwolves out assist the Nuggets. They had 34 to Nuggets 30. But then we had 11 steals to their 8. And then we had only 2 blocks to their 9. And you would think that most of their blocks came from Rudy Gobert. They didn't. They actually came from Naz Reid. Gobert only got 2. Naz had 3. Jaden McDaniels even had 2. So, like, a lot of the times I feel like that everyone's like praising Gobert for being such an amazing defensive player. Like, you have Jaden McDaniels, who I feel like is a much better defensive player than Gobert is. Gobert is just a dirty player. I'm just gonna say it. He's just a dirty player. But the big takeaways from this game, like I've said before, is that it looks fun, like they're trying. They have more energy. You see there was some fire there. That I know this is the start of the season, so hopefully this can actually push them into the right direction for the rest of the season. And I know that they are right now building. As soon as they lost KCP, they started to rebuild because they need someone that they can rely on in that starter position, which then took away from the bench. So now they're really trying to build their bench strong so they have more depth. And right now they don't really have that. And that's why they brought on Westbrook to try to train them a little bit. And so it's going to be, I feel like, a long season. Definitely. I've said that before. I'm going to say it again. It's going to be a long season. And I feel like we're in a good spot to head into the game tomorrow against the Jazz, and hopefully we get that win against them. Don't let them win at home. Don't let them win, period. I know they're hungry for that win, so let's. I hope that they do that, and then after that, we're facing the Raptors again on Monday at home, and so hopefully we can sweep the Raptors early in the season here, and then we're playing the Thunder again. So at this point, we've already lost to the Thunder once. We've already lost to the Clippers once. Now we've lost to the Timberwolves once. We should not make that a continuous thing. We need to make a statement against the Thunder, and we need to win against them. I think they play on Wednesday, so fingers crossed. Nuggets come out with a W then. But that's all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe and share it out to your friends and family. And you've been watching CS 105.1, where I talk about sports and movies with good vibes. I'll catch you later.